Okay, so you've sent us Psalm 11,
Hmm.
and we are living in a world right now where it can feel like everything's kind of just changing all the time, right?
Yeah.
Just constant flux.
It
And
sounds.
this ancient text
Mm.
offers a really direct look, I think, at how to find solid ground. Like, where is that stability? Where is
Right.
that foundation when everything is like crumbling around you?
Yeah.
And it's so powerful because it is so short.
Yeah.
It's such a brief psalm, but it's so punchy and so profound.
right to the point. Yeah.
David is really reflecting on where to place your trust when everything around you seems to be falling apart.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive, we're going to extract the core message from this psalm.
Okay.
And we're going to see how it speaks to your own search for understanding and stability amidst all of this chaos.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating how this need for security and stability, it's something that humans have felt for millennia.
Totally.
And, Psalm 11, it opens with this very strong assertion, I trust in the Lord for protection.
Right.
And it's interesting because he says that even before acknowledging all the threats and all the bad stuff that
Yeah.
are going on around him.
Totally.
So there's this foundational declaration of faith.
Totally. And it's even before he gets into the problems, he's like, I'm just putting it out there right up front,
Yeah.
God, that this is my foundation.
This is it. This is where I stand.
This is where I stand. And I think in our own age
Yeah.
of rapid change
Right.
and uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
there's a huge lesson there in anchoring ourselves to principles that are beyond just what's happening around us.
Yeah. To something bigger than us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
To something outside of ourselves.
But then right away,
Yeah.
we hear this voice of panic,
Mm.
fly like a bird to the mountains for safety.
Right.
What do you think about the psalmist, including this almost knee-jerk reaction of fear?
It's interesting. I think it really highlights a very human impulse to when we're faced with danger or
Yeah.
something scary, to want to run away, to
Yeah.
want to flee
Yeah.
and find somewhere safe and tangible to hide.
Yeah, exactly.
And the psalm doesn't, it doesn't dismiss this feeling,
Yeah.
but it immediately contrasts it with a different kind of refuge,
Totally.
a different way to find safety.
And it also really makes clear why there's this fear.
Yeah.
Because then he goes on to describe the wicked. He says, they shoot from the shadows at those whose hearts are right.
It's a scary thought.
It's a really spooky image. It's
Yeah.
this very hidden, insidious threat.
Right. And you don't know where it's coming from exactly.
Exactly. And then it all comes to a head
Yeah.
with this just really stark question.
Mm.
The foundations of law and order have collapsed. What can the righteous do?
Right.
I mean, it's this feeling of societal breakdown.
Yeah, everything's falling apart.
Very structures that are supposed to keep us safe and make us feel secure.
Yeah.
They're gone. And so what do?
It feels very relevant today.
So relevant.
Doesn't it?
It could be ripped from the headlines.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But then what's so interesting is that immediately in the next verse,
Yeah.
the whole thing shifts.
Totally.
Right after that moment of despair, the psalmist says, but the Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord still rules from heaven.
It's this breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
He goes from this place of despair and uncertainty
Yeah.
to this unwavering belief in a higher authority.
Right. And it's zooming out
Yeah.
from the chaos
Yeah.
to this bigger perspective.
A wider lens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just
Okay.
God's not just this detached observer up there.
Right.
The Psalm says he watches everyone closely examining every person on earth.
Yeah, he sees everything.
It's very personal
Yeah.
and very active. He's aware,
Yeah, and involve.
he's paying attention.
Yeah.
And that leads into this whole idea of judgment.
Yep.
The Psalm says, the Lord examines both the righteous and the wicked. He hates those who love violence.
It's a separation there.
Yeah, he's making a distinction.
Yeah, there's a moral order in place, even when everything else is falling apart around you.
Right. And the imagery that the Psalm uses to describe this judgment is so powerful.
Yeah.
It says there's going to be blazing coals and burning sulfur and scorching winds.
Intense.
It's intense. And it's this really vivid image of the consequences of injustice.
And I think that really sets up the last verse beautifully, which
Mhm.
is this beautiful affirmation
Mhm.
of hope and resolution.
Yeah.
For the righteous Lord loves justice. The virtuous will see his face.
Yeah. And that image of seeing God's face,
Right.
it implies intimacy and favor.
Yeah, a close relationship.
Yeah, it's not just like a judgment from afar. It's like you are in God's presence.
Yeah.
And so you see this like huge movement in just a few verses.
Yeah.
It starts with this very real feeling of fear
Right, we've all been there.
in this like chaotic world. And then it shifts
Yeah.
to this perspective of like unwavering trust in God.
And that ultimate justice prevails
Yeah,
in the end.
exactly. And I think that core takeaway is that we should look beyond like our immediate anxieties.
Yeah, the day-to-day worries.
Yeah, and find that foundation of trust that's not dependent on
Yeah.
our circumstances.
On the things that are changing around you. Yeah.
And that even when things feel like they're falling apart, there's this like constant
Yeah.
just presence at the heart of it all.
Yeah. I love that.
So as you go out into the world, we want you to just think about this question.
Okay.
When you feel that instability,
Yeah.
when you feel like there's injustice in the world,
Right.
how does believing in a higher order, a belief in ultimate justice,
Yeah.
how does that shape your response
Right.
and your sense of like inner peace?
Your own sense of security.
It's something to really consider.
It is. It is.
Until next time.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.